Hi, this is Dr. Perry Carpenter. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join me on today's program. Today's program is taken right out of the Hypertrophy files. And the Hypertrophy files are part of a series of lectures that I produced for you doctors out of the Basic Science series for Chiropractic Continuing Education. And today's program is approved for 6 hours of continuing education in the general category by the Board of Chiropractic Examiners. So welcome to the program and thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoy today's program quite a bit and that you get a lot out of it. The focus of today's program is going to be on two words, and these are two words that I tell almost every one of my patients on almost every single visit that I have with them. And these are some profound words, and you don't have to say really much more than these two words to your patients. And if you're able to get a head nod from your patients after you repeat this mantra to them, you'll know that you're doing the very best thing that you can for them. And this applies to you as well. Today's program is entitled Exercise Recommendations for Chiropractors and Their Patients. And so today's program is directed, first of all, doctors, at you, because I know what your life is like, and I know what it's like to be a chiropractor, because I am a chiropractor, and I've been a chiropractor for 27 years, and I know that being a chiropractor is a physical job. It's a physically demanding, it's a heavy lifting job. So we have those physical demands on us. Also, as respected healthcare authorities, we also serve as role models to our patients. So it's important that we practice what we preach. And so I direct this program first and foremost to you, doctor, and then also to your patients. And the mantra and the two words that I constantly reinforce both to myself and to my patients, and that I want to impart to you and your patients, is to up muscle. Up muscle. It's the philosophy of this program, and it's my sincere opinion that we need to continually focus on increasing the muscle mass content of our body, and this is regardless of age. In fact, as we age through our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I don't know where you lie on that spectrum, but speaking for myself, I'm probably at the midpoint of that spectrum and inching perhaps slightly past the midpoint of that spectrum. And as we do age, it becomes even more important to focus on upping the muscle mass content of our bodies. So that's the whole purpose of our program today, is to learn how to preserve muscle mass and how to promote and grow new muscle mass regardless of our age, regardless of our physical condition, or regardless of any limitations that we may think that we have that prevent us from doing just that, from building new muscle. So this is called the Hypertrophy files, and this is one of several lessons in the Hypertrophy files, which is a series of exercise, dietary, and lifestyle techniques designed to promote muscle hypertrophy. So today we're going to talk about lesson number 1 from the Hypertrophy files. And today we're going to focus on some exercise techniques involving and focusing on 3 very narrow principles. We're going to narrow this entire concept down to 3 simple, effective, and extremely powerful techniques that you and your patients can implement right away that will tremendously improve and enhance the benefits that you get from standard exercise, whether those be performed in a health club or whether those be performed at home with simple and inexpensive implements. And those 3 simple principles that we're going to focus on in this program include, number 1, the biarticular muscles, the eccentric muscle actions, and the pre-stretch principle. And of course, we'll elaborate over the next 6 hours on these 3 principles. So if you're ready with me, I'd like you to grab your handout materials for your note-taking benefit. Grab you a snack and a drink and get ready to get down to some brass tacks of anatomy, physiology, and the science behind muscle hypertrophy. Now, as we get into our discussion of the necessity for muscle hypertrophy, I want you to think about what you've traditionally thought of as some of the individual components of fitness. And when we think about fitness, we all feel like we have a general idea of what it means to be physically fit. And there are various components of fitness. For example, you're all familiar with the fitness component of cardiorespiratory endurance, and you're familiar with muscular endurance, and you're familiar with the component of muscular strength and flexibility and balance and agility and power, and all these different components that contribute to what we consider to be physical fitness. Now, let me ask you, which of the components of physical fitness that we just listed, such as strength, such as endurance, such as agility, etc., in your opinion, which of those components is the most important component? In other words, if you were to focus on any one of those components, which would be the one that should command most of your time, effort, and energy? Well, that's probably a pretty rhetorical question, because there's probably no one correct answer to that question. And if I ask that question to 10 different doctors, I'd probably get 11 different answers, and opinions would vary. I think we could agree that they are all important. It's important to have a good measure of flexibility, and it's important to have good balance, and it's important to have agility and the ability to move quickly and accurately, and it's important to have cardiorespiratory endurance, and all of those components are important to focus on in any physical fitness and exercise program. But today's program, the philosophy of today's program, is to focus narrowly and simply on exercise and strength and hypertrophy training techniques, the purpose of which is to increase the strength of the muscles of our body and to increase the absolute content of the mass of the muscles of our bodies. So we're going to focus simply on strength and hypertrophy techniques, not to discount some of the other components of fitness, which I elaborate on more in other programs, but simply to narrow our focus into one main area today, and that is, how can we increase the functional content of the functional tissue of our body, and that is the muscle mass of the body. So let's define a couple terms here so we're all on the same page as to what it is that we're talking about. Strength is defined as the maximal force that a muscle or muscle group can generate, and that's typically measured by simply how much weight a person can lift, and there's various methods of doing that. Hypertrophy is defined as muscular enlargement resulting from training, primarily owing to an increase in the cross-sectional area of the muscle. So hypertrophy is about enlarging muscle. And today's program is all about how to enlarge muscle, because large muscles correlate with muscle strength. In other words, a large muscle is a strong muscle. And it's my opinion that we need to be as strong as we can for as long as we can. And this applies to you, doctor, as a practicing chiropractor, which is a very physically demanding occupation, and also it applies for your patients. This program contains advice and counsel that you're going to be giving to your patients throughout this year as we synchronize our goal setting this year for the one unified goal to up muscle and increase both our muscle mass and the muscle mass of our patients, so that we can enjoy a busy, active, and healthy lifestyle. And so the ideas that are presented here that I'm going to give to you today are generally tailored towards the active, healthy, general population. I'm also going to be giving specific modifications to some of the principles and exercise techniques as we go for the special populations. In other words, for people that have various issues and conditions and limitations. And that pretty much defines the population that we find in a chiropractic office. In a chiropractic office, we have both general populations, in other words, people that come in for our chiropractic treatment in order to maintain a busy, active, healthy lifestyle. And these people don't necessarily have health conditions. They simply come for chiropractic treatment to keep or prevent from having limiting conditions. And then also in a chiropractic practice, we do see people that do have health conditions such as a shoulder injury, such as a back injury, such as hypertension, such as diabetes, etc. And so I'm going to present ideas to you here today, both for general populations and for special populations. And I'm also going to give specific examples of how these ideas can be modified and tailored to accommodate those who are recovering from specific types of injuries. And for example, I'm going to be giving many examples of how eccentric muscle actions can be used in the treatment of many different types of tendinitis, such as elbow tendinitis, Achilles tendinitis, and etc. And I'll elaborate on those as we go along here in the program. I want to introduce myself to you. My name is Dr. Perry Carpenter. I'm a practicing chiropractor. I've been a chiropractor for approximately 27 years. I'm also a qualified medical evaluator. And today's program is approved for 6 hours of continuing education home study credit by the Board of Chiropractic Examiners. Today's program fits into category B, the basic sciences, the non-mandatory credit hours, of which you're required to complete 18 credit hours per annum. Of your 24 required chiropractic continuing education hours, a maximum of 12 hours can completed by distance learning education. And so this program fulfills 6 general hours and 6 distance learning hours. I want you to know, if you're a qualified medical evaluator, I also provide continuing education programs for QME doctors, and I'll just give you the website where you can obtain information about those programs if you're interested in those. It's www.ezqmeceu.com. That's all letters. That's the letter E, the letter Z, and then QME, and then CEU.com. And CEU stands for Continuing Education Units. I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist with the National Strength and Conditioning Association, and so much of the material that I'll be presenting to you today comes from the latest research in strength, conditioning, training, physical fitness, hypertrophy, and really worldwide research on exercise training techniques that I'll be sharing with you here today. Now, the philosophy of our program today is that we're going to focus in on what I consider to be the very best of the very best of the very best exercise training techniques. And I like to reference what you've probably heard of as the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule states that there are a small number of factors that produce really big results. And similarly, or conversely, there are a large number of factors that may take up time and may have some utility. However, they are less effective and less impactful than the really profound factors. And so what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the few simple exercise techniques that really deliver the big results and give you a big bang for your buck towards our goal, and that is our overriding goal of increasing the muscle strength and increasing the muscle content of the body. And let me tell you how it is that I arrived on this particular philosophy as it relates to exercise training techniques. I began weight training myself approximately at the age of 15 or 16, depending upon how you want to define the start time. I think I started lifting some weights and throwing around dumbbells and stuff like that at around age 12. But at age 15 to 16, I began to formally make the trip 4 days a week to a gym, and that officially marked the beginning of my weight training career, I would say. And so I started at a young age, and as I lifted weights through high school and college, in those days I had all the time in the world, it seemed anyway, to hang around in the gym with the guys and lift weights and do exercises, and time seemed like it stood still. Well, as I got into later in college and into chiropractic school, and then out of chiropractic school, and had a family and a busy practice, and life seemed to get all of a sudden busier and busier, and responsibilities started to pile on. I realized that I couldn't hang around the gym all day as if I had nothing else to do, because that wasn't true. I started to realize that I needed to get in the gym. I needed to be very effective with my time. I needed to get the maximum amount of results for the time spent in the gym. And so I started refining my exercise technique. I started to refine my exercise selection. I started to discard exercises that, while they were giving me some result and while they had some benefit, they weren't as beneficial as some other exercises. And so I started selecting the most impactful exercises and the most impactful exercise techniques. And I found through research in the literature that what I had discovered anecdotally in my own experience had scientific research and research collaboration or corroboration behind it. So I'm going to share with you in this program a few simple techniques that can dramatically improve the benefits of your training, and you can share these techniques also with your patients. And if they implement these techniques in their exercise routines, their daily exercise routines, whether that be at home or whether that actually be formally at a health club, it will dramatically improve the benefits of their training efforts, and also improve their activities of daily living and their functional capacity as they go about their normal busy lifestyle. For those of you that have the PowerPoint presentation, or even if you don't have the PowerPoint presentation but you're looking at your notes, I list for you here the references for today's program, and there's 4 pages of references that I'll show you. I'm not going to read off the references to you because you can see those here in front of you on your notes or on your computer screen. But I want you to know that everything from today's program is referenced, and that's referenced by very current and very timely studies on these topics. In specifically, I'm gonna share with you a lot of material from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. I'm going to be quoting several concepts from the National Strength and Conditioning Association textbooks. There's 2 textbooks. There's the Essentials of Personal Training, and there's the Essentials of Strength Training and Conditioning. And then in addition to those 2 textbooks, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, of which I'm a member, also publishes a monthly journal known as the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research. And I've taken many of the studies directly from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research. We also have other references here from other respected journals, such as Medicine and Science and Sports, and the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy, etc. In your handout materials for this course, I've included all of the journal articles from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research. Now, all of those articles I have direct and complete access to as a member of the National Strength and Conditioning Association. And also part of my membership with the NSCA allows me access to other journal articles, however, not the complete journal articles. So for the other references included in this program, I've taken that material from the abstracts of these journal articles. I do not have the entire articles to share with you, but as part of this program, you are going to get approximately 50 pages of studies from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research. Okay, so have fun with those journal articles, and I recommend for those of you that are interested in this type of research, the National Strength and Conditioning Association allows you access to more studies on more topics related to exercise, strength training, really anything related to physical fitness and exercise. You can find archived at the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research. So the membership with the NSCA is cheap, and I highly recommend it. Okay, so let's move now into some of the topics of today's program. In conclusion, this is Dr. Perry Carpenter. I hope you enjoyed this program. Now you have a 20-question examination that I need you to complete and either fax or email back to me. My fax number is on the top of the examination form, and just as soon as I receive your examination form, I will provide you with a certificate of completion that you can use for your Board of Chiropractors continuing education credit. For now, I want to leave you with the website for chiropractors, which is entitled EZChiropracticCEU.com. We're always coming up with new programs, so check the website frequently for new programs designed to help you succeed as a chiropractor. Again, Dr. Perry Carpenter wishing you great success. If there's ever anything I can do to help you, feel free to call. Again, thanks for being with me on this program, and best of success.